Yo, what's good? Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over the basics of testosterone. So the reference range is between 300 and 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. Now, I do want to go over how the medical professionals came up with that reference range. So they took people from the ages of 18 years old and 80 years old and came up with the reference range. So you could go into your doctor and go, hey man, I'm very tired, I'm slightly depressed, I'm feeling really bad. And he can go, hey, well, you have the testosterone levels of an 18-year-old, or I'm sorry, an 80-year-old, so you're doing great. And how about an antidepressant? How about an SSRI? So, that's kind of like fucked up realistically. And this reference range it's very flawed. There's a lot of issues with it. So anyway, your job as a man is to get as high up towards this 1,000 as you can. 700 to 1,000 is that's good. And so look, the average male makes between 50 and 70 milligrams per week. And so when you go on, if you were to go on TRT or something like that, they would be giving you 150 to 200 milligrams per week. Okay? So I know what you're thinking, like, couldn't you just optimize your lifestyle and get your testosterone level up? Yeah, you could. But not everybody has time to live their life like, the Liver King and eat everything perfect and have their training be perfect and get enough time out in the sun and get enough sleep. That's a very privileged scenario where you can do everything perfect and maybe get up to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. Probably not, because of all the other hormone disrupting compounds that are in your water bottle, in the food that's packaged, coming off of the Wi-Fi. We literally live in a society that whatever our surroundings, the things we're using on a daily basis, soaps, everything like that, they're all just attacking your testosterone levels. So if you can micromanage it and make sure that all the food you get comes out of glass, none of the soaps that you use have any endocrine disrupting compounds in them, that your house doesn't have any endocrine disrupting paints on the walls. If you can do that, more power to you. But most people are going to be better off just going and getting some TRT. So when you do go on TRT, it'll result in getting you levels of anywhere between 700 nanograms per deciliter upward towards 1,800. Most doctors don't want to see your testosterone level up to 1,800, but I know it can go there just because of my personal blood work. So when I take a doctor prescribable dose of 200 milligrams, my testosterone level is slightly over 1,800, which is not average. I'm a little bit of like a hyper responder, you could say. But yeah, that's typically how that goes. You have your whack ass reference range, and then you can maybe get some TRT if you're below the test level of an 80-year-old, which is whatever. I've already talked about that. And so now, I just wanted to educate you on what an average steroid cycle dose looks like. And I'm not talking about a pro bodybuilder here. I'm talking about like the big guy at your gym that can, do 3 plates on bench. Like you look over in the gym and you go, oh fuck, that guy's jacked. Okay, he's usually on between 500 and 1,000 milligrams per week. Very average gym bro, type of dose. Okay, and then you have pro level doses. Okay, and so these are like the guys that look crazy as fuck, and you wouldn't even want to look like that if you had the option. You go, that's kind of weird looking, that's not for me. These guys are abusing testosterone at these doses. So that's kind of how that goes. You got what your doctor gives you, you got what the gym bros are taking, and then you have what the professional weirdos are taking, okay? So now that brings us to the esters of testosterone. So pretty much there's 4 like super common esters that people use. You have propionate. That one peaks 2 hours after administration and stays elevated for about like 48 hours. And then you have enanthate and cypionate that both peak 24 hours after administration and stay elevated for like 3 or 4 days. So this is usually what you would get from a TRT clinic, either enanthate or cypionate. And you would want to administer those, 2 to even 4 times a week to control estrogen or whatever you need to do. And then you have Testosterone. So with my personal experience, I cannot tell the difference between Testosterone and enanthate. Even though Testosterone has propionate in it and phenylpropionate, and then it has some other longer esters like enanthate and cypionate, so it's a blend. But to be completely honest, you really cannot tell the difference, okay? So when you're taking testosterone at a level that's not quite natural, you're also going to convert to estrogen at a level that's not quite natural. So that's where estrogen control comes into play. The 3 main ones that you have are exemestane, anastrozole, and letrozole. The reason that I have a star next to exemestane is because it's the healthiest one and it works really fast and it's the best on your mental state. A lot of anastrozole is the most common, but people kind of get like depression and bad lipids and shit whenever they take anastrozole. And then you have letrozole, which is the strongest one. So there are people out there that have issues controlling estrogen at a TRT dose, okay? That's not common, but some people do. And so if these people want to take a cycle, okay, the only way that they can refrain from using these every single day, potentially multiple times a day, is they have to use letrozole, okay? And this works for them. But this is not, I would say the people that have to use letrozole are not the average, okay? And then as far as estrogen control goes, you have other steroids you can use. So you can use Masteron, Primo, or Equipoise, okay? But these guys that, have to use letrozole, they cannot rely on these other steroids to control their estrogen for them. They could get themselves into trouble going, oh, I'll just take some Primobolan and that'll control my estrogen. No, it won't. For these guys that aromatize way more than others, it won't. So for me personally, Equipoise, it controls my estrogen really well, even if I'm on 1,000 milligrams of testosterone, okay? And when I'm on TRT, I don't need any estrogen control. So a lot of times I'm able to just add another steroid instead of use these. Or if I don't do that, I just can get away with exemestane, 2 or 3 times a week, a half a tablet. I don't need much. But yeah, so that is the basics of testosterone, and I hope you enjoyed this video.